So hi guys, this is Rogue System 087. I'm doing a full disassembly and reassembly video of the Tokyo Marui SIG P226. But I do want users to note right now that yes, this is a P226 starter kit, but all the internals and stuff, I'm just going to go through on how to disassemble all of those, okay? Which I don't think there's little to no information on that on the internet, so this is why I'm making this video. Hopefully this helps someone out there. So right now this is currently fitted to a garter kit. Now, there's one. This is the most important part. I want you to note that the base of this gun was a SIG P226 E2. Now, I've never owned the normal 226, so I don't actually know what the difference is between the old one and the E2. But I can tell you that the difference is in some of the internals and some of the external bits. Only some. I don't know all of them. But I can tell you that the hammer assembly, the magazine release, of course, the hammer spring, the hammer, the slide and frame, of course, because they're both a little bit different. The trigger, and the grips, and the magazine release and the outer barrel is different from the P226. Okay, so the E2 is a little bit different in that respect. But nevertheless, I fitted all the E2 stuff into this P226 starter kit. And after this, I realized that there was actually an E2 kit for it. But anyways, I'll go through the whole disassembly video of everything. Okay, so this video will be quite long, just because there's some parts that's sort of a little bit tricky. Okay, and the assembly video, I'll do it as I disassemble the gun. Okay, so let me get started. Now, for the sake, sorry about that. Now, for the sake of the video, I already unscrewed the screws on my grip. So let me just take off my tactical light. This is a stream light. Now I'm gonna pop, and I'm gonna pop the slide off. Okay, make sure your magazine's out. And make sure the gun's clear. Okay, so that's how you pop up the slide. You basically pull the slide back, flip the switch, and it'll just slide right off. Okay, so that's a slide. Actually, you know what? I'll start with disassembling the slide first. This is one of the easier parts. Take your recoil guide rod and just slip it out. Notice that there is a hook here that hooks onto the hop-up unit. Okay, that's all. This is a garter recoil spring. And this is the garter barrel with the Marui unit. Now, here's a little tricky. When you first get your garter kit, now this is not an explanation of how to, just something to note. It's hard to fit it in here, so you have to modify this in order to get it to fit your Marui hop-up unit and your barrel. So anyways, I'm going to tell you how to disassemble this first, because it's conveniently right in front of us. Let me use this screwdriver. Okay, so just take apart these two screws. Sorry about the lighting. Okay, so I just took apart this part. This part just holds all the screws and stuff. Okay, screws are right there. And this is your hop-up unit. Okay, now that's your hop-up arm, that's your hop-up wheel, and this is your hop-up rubber, and this is your barrel. Okay, it's very simple, very nothing special, very simple. Okay, this is just a stock P226 Marui hop-up rubber with the PDI Palestine barrel. So anyways, I'll put that aside. And now I'll disassemble the bullet housing unit. Now, this is actually quite simple. It's actually a better design. This is actually quite a good design. You see those two screws? Those two screws is what hold the blowback housing unit in place. Okay, so you have to unscrew those. Okay, so I'm going to unscrew them right now. And again, sorry about the lighting. And I'll also do the reassembly of the slide while I'm at it, like in one go, so you know everything about the slide. Okay, so that's the iron sight. This is the garter iron sight, but this also applies to your P226 E2. I think this is also the same case for your stock for your P226. It's just unscrew and then pop off. And just get these screws out so I don't lose them. them aside where you can clearly keep track of them. Okay, and now your blowback housing unit, this should just, now mines won't slip out as easily, but this is it. Okay, now because this is a metal kit for garter, I had to modify my blowback housing unit extensively, so that's why it is so shiny. It's because I had to modify this whole entire thing to get it to work. Now, if you're using a stock Tokyo Marui gun, meaning your whole entire gun is completely plastic, what you have to do for your own gun is the way the Marui kits hold on. Now this is the shell of my E2. Okay, now the way it actually holds on. Oh crap! Anyways, now the way that holds on, you can actually see there's actually an area here where there is, I don't know if you can see on camera, but there's a square area here that actually clamps onto your blowback housing unit. Okay, in order to get your blowback housing unit off of your plastic slide, you have to stretch the plastic like this. Okay, you actually have to stretch it out, like take the screws off, stretch it out, and then stretch out your slide, push your blowback housing unit out. Okay, that's the only way I know to do it. It's very common for all the Marui plastic slides to clamp onto the blowback housing unit. It's the same case for the High Kappa, 1911, SIG. It's not the case for the Glocks, but it's the case for these guns. Okay, for striker fire guns, so far I've noticed. Anyways, I'm gonna tell you how to disassemble all the stuff in here too. Okay, so this is the nozzle. Now, notice that there's no nozzle spring on top. Okay, for the P226 blowback housing unit, the nozzle is actually within. See that? That is the nozzle spring. It's actually quite unique. I actually like this design better, so the nozzle spring never warps. Right? That's the nozzle. The piston. Okay, I'm not going to disassemble these parts because these parts are just a little bit too straightforward. And to be honest, I don't want to line up the rocket valve locker with the screw. Okay, but if you intend to change out the rocket valve and stuff, to basically unscrew this, take all the guts off and swap it out. It's very easy. Like, there's only 2 parts in here. I mean, wait, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's a spring, rocket valve, and a rocket valve locker. Okay, so this is when you buy nozzles, they come assembled anyways. To my understanding, there's only a garter one available. So anyways, that's a nozzle. This piston head, I don't think this came with the Marui one, did it? Oh yeah, it probably did. Wait, let me see. Yeah, it did. Okay, so this comes with the stock Tokyo Marui one. Didn't modify it, didn't change out anything. Okay, this is a cap, you just flip it off. And you just flip it off, and there's a screw, and then it'll come off. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So I'm not going to disassemble that just because it's so straightforward. You can figure that out yourself. The slide is not too important. Anyways, I'm going to put this back together very, very quickly, just to show you how it puts back. Now, put your nozzle in first. And there is a leg here that pushes the nozzle spring. So you have to align that up. Put it in. And now, what you have to do, take your nozzle spring and this, slip it into the bottom gap on this one. Not the top one, the lower one. Slip it in. Okay. Notice it sticks out a little bit. Notice the nozzle spring guide sticks out a little bit. Okay. Now, in order to put it back into your slide, it's sort of tricky. For your plastic slide, you have to angle it in and then snap it into place. For metal slides, okay, you have to angle it in. Now, it's going to be a little bit hard to show you, but I'm going to do my best. You basically angle it in like this so you don't lose the nozzle spring. There's a wall here. You see that wall? You basically angle the nozzle spring into that wall so it doesn't shoot out. Okay. So I'm gonna try to do this. Hard to do this on camera just because the camera's not perfectly parallel with the way I'm doing this right now. Sorry. Oh, I missed the angle. Oh no, I didn't. Yep, I got it. Okay, so that's it, okay? Oops, so maybe not. Ooh, it's getting caught on something. Why is it getting caught? Oh, you know what? It's because it's dry. Oh yeah, because I wiped it off earlier before I did this. But anyways. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's not. Let me just quickly get it fixed. Push it, snap it back into place, and now, yeah, okay, there we go. Good enough. Oh, this is not the most important part, but anyways, let me screw these screws in now. I'll also do the reassembly video while I do the disassembly, okay? So, hopefully I don't make the video too long. Oh my god. Screw my big hands. Now the good thing about these iron sights is that they actually they have to be perfectly aligned in order for you to screw them in, so that's why I like these iron sights for the SIG a lot, just because they never go out of shape, they never go out of place, and the fact that there are 2 screws holding it. Okay, so this, oh by the way, just note, my whole entire gun is pretty much stock. I didn't change out anything except for the barrel. Okay, so screw it in, just check if your iron sight is stiff. Okay, it's perfectly fine. Now put your assembling your hop-up unit back together. Because I need this in order to put the barrel into my gun. So basically put your hop-up rubber, this end, put it in that window. Like so. Put your steel arm into this. There's like a channel, an area in your wheel. That's it. Put it on. Close it. If it doesn't close, don't force it. There, close instantly. By the way, the barrel actually came from my Glock. So pretty much the SIG parts in the barrel can be interchangeable with this is using the VSR rubbers, right? So where's my other barrel? Okay, there it is. Now this is a little bit difficult for me because my garter spring is really stiff. I have to angle the guide rod out the slide. Okay, let me do it. I need a little bit more workspace. I'm going to do this off camera because I can't do this without my leg. Okay, so there. Yeah, you got the guide rod out. Now, here's the part where you have to make sure that this part of your guide rod, there's like a piece here. You see that thing? It hooks onto your hop-up unit. There's a hole there. Just basically snap it in there, and that's it for your slide. Okay, that's everything that you need to know for your slide. And now I'll go through the disassembly for the lower frame. Okay, so before I start taking the frame 50 jillion pieces, again, I want people to know that this is a disassembly of the Marui E2, which has different internal parts, some different internal parts. And I also note that I'm not an expert at this. I learned, believe it or not, by simply looking at this. I simply looked at this and see what angle is at what, and you see how you can actually sort of follow the assembly just by watching this. It's just that it's a little bit tricky when it comes to assembling it. This disassembling is very, very easy. It's just a matter of figuring out what goes where and what goes what. And I have no idea what parts do what exactly, but I sort of have an idea. I don't know the names of all these parts, so forgive me. But anyways, that's actually the reason why this is here, is because I need this in order to figure out how to disassemble that. So anyways, let me get started. So anyways, let's first things first. Easiest part to take out is probably your slide blocker or your thing that holds onto your slide or whatever you call it. Now, you have to put it in this position and then wiggle it out. Now, the reason why you have to wiggle it out is because there is a notch in there. Okay, there we go. I got it out. Now, the reason why is because you see that on this, there is a notch right there. Right there. That hooks on. That goes into that notch. So you have to be. It has to be in that position in order to get out. Okay, you just have to wiggle it. It's actually not stiff. It's more like you just have to line it up perfectly to get it out. So this makes it very secure. Okay, so just put that aside. And note I removed all the grip screws already, so for the sake of the video, so it's faster. So just let me pop my grip screws off. These are wood grips. Okay, I'm gonna pop the side off. Okay, now and you see this spring over here. This spring has to be in this position. Now the reason why is because when you pull your trigger, this is in charge of lifting your trigger bar up, so it can be in the engage position to push the sear and therefore allow your hammer to fall. Okay, so it has to be do that. Okay, so relieve the tension on your hammer and then just take your spring out. Simply just unhook it from your trigger bar and just wiggle it out. Okay, take care of this. Don't lose this because to my understanding there are no aftermarket replacement parts with this. Not to my understanding, anyways. Okay, so put that aside. Now for this side. This side you have to be a little bit more gentle. Okay, this is your decocker. Your decocker just comes right off like this. By the way, if you intend to use real steel wood grips, you have to modify them to get the fit. Okay, just a warning. Okay. So anyways, this spring over here, it hooks onto exactly as you see. So basically, there is a spring that basically hooks onto this side, curves around, and hooks there. Okay, just don't take that off. You can put it on if you want. You can take it off if you want, but there's no point. I can tell you that this spring, if you take it off, is very, very hard to put back on because the tension is actually quite strong. So anyways, just put that aside. Now I'll go through. Now, you have to do this part, next part, which is this part. This is your hammer strut and your hammer spring. Now, the only way that I know how to take this is by applying a lot of pressure. Okay, so what you have to do, your hammer has to be up. Okay, if your hammer's down, you're gonna break your fingers doing this. So push it up. It's very difficult to do. Oh my god, my hand. It is a very stiff. This is the garter hammer spring, so you can imagine how solid it is. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I have to do this off frame so I can hold it up against my body. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. I got it. Okay. So it slips. Oh, my bad. Okay, wait. So you see this part here that holds the hammer strut and everything in? It sort of slips in like this. And then the tension just pushes right down, right? So you have to unhook it and then slide it off. Okay, that's gonna work with my fingers. It took me 50 jillion years to figure out how that worked. And this is the hammer strut itself. I'll teach you how to assemble everything once it's done. And this is the hammer spring. Note that one side is tighter than the other because that tight side is it's caught right here, right on this fat wider part of the hammer strut. Okay, so that's how it works. So put that aside. Don't lose the hammer spring. And now you knock out the pins. So there's a pin here. Sometimes they fall out, depending on how often you take it apart. Sometimes it loosens up. So let me just punch out. There's like a hole here. Yeah, you should be able to see it. Yeah, that hole over there. Push it out. And that's the pin. It goes right here. Right here. Okay, so I'll just knock that pin out. And there's another pin that holds the hammer assembly in, which is this pin. Punch it in from this side. Now the reason why is because there's the rough area of the pin is on this side. So if you keep punching it through again and again, this will become looser. So I don't recommend you do that. So punch it from this side. It's actually quite soft. You can just push it out. And there you go. as you can see, this is what I meant. See a rougher side? That rough side, don't mess that up, because that can mess up your gun if you. It just becomes loose. I have seen people that it has come loose on some of my friends who have SIGs too. They did. Oh crap! They haven't modified theirs, but anyway, sorry about that. I dropped it. Okay. Anyways, putting that aside. Now I'll go over the rest. Now, you can take up. Now with all those stuff gone, you can actually take out your hammer. Okay, your hammer assembly. So let me slip that out. Okay, now keep your hand over this valve knocker disconnector. Now the reason why is because this valve knocker disconnector spring is held in a little bit differently. Okay, so I'm going to take this out first. I'm just going to relieve the tension on the spring, okay? Now, if I were you, put your hand over here like this, and then move this upwards, like away from the thing. Okay, you see how that works? Now, let me zoom in. You see, there's actually a slot for your spring. And let me see, where is it? No, I'm looking at the camera screen, so sorry. And you see this gap here? This gap right here? This is also to cup onto the disconnector spring in order for you to put it back on it, okay? So I'll go through the disassembly of this. You know what? I'm gonna take this part of the gun out too, disassemble that, and I'll show you the assembly for this too. Okay, I'll show you everything in one go. So let me just put this aside for now. I'll show you in a second. Okay. So for the rest of the part, let me see if I remember this correctly. You should start now with your magazine release. Okay. Now this is a little bit tricky. You see this flap in here? Now I have to get very good lighting for you. This thing right here. This thing. This black piece. This is actually made of plastic. I don't know what you call it. Sorry. Okay. But what you can do is that, you know, it just flipped out by itself. Now you can move your trigger bar out a little bit and it'll flip out by itself. So it moved out a little bit from this rail of the gun. So what you can do now is take your finger and slide it out. Now this thing actually holds the magazine release spring. So as you can see, that's the magazine release spring. So this is quite a unique design. I've never seen this before on any gun, except for the SIGs. I don't know if this is the case for the standard P226s, but then that's what it is. So after you take it out, you can take the magazine out from this side. Okay. And you have to take that out in order to take this out. The reason why is because that's holding up tension there. If you forcefully take it out, you can damage this plastic piece. So try not to do that. Okay. Now I'm going to slowly slide this out. Oh no, wait! I forgot to take off the screw in here. I forgot to do that. Pain in the butt to put this back together. Sorry if this video goes for 50 jillion years, but I am not proficient at this. So just take out that screw, put it to the side, and now you can slide your frame off. Now, there's nothing that will shoot out except for the... Actually, there is one thing. On this side, there is a spring here that allows your slide release to pop up and down, okay? There's a spring over here, so make sure you don't lose it. So I'm actually able to show you that right now. Now, this is a little bit hard to get out because I'm in a garter frame. Now, okay, there we go. You see that spring right there? That is the thing you don't want to lose. So I'm going to put my finger over it. Slowly take the spring out. Yep, that's the spring. Now, the difference, now when you take apart your whole entire gun, and if you're later if you get confused between this and your sear disconnectors and your your valve knocker disconnector spring, you can tell the difference between the two is because the valve knocker one is shorter and this one's longer. Okay, so just in case if you think you'll get confused. And okay, so now I'll get through all the goody stuff, which is also the most annoying part of the video, for me anyways, is the disassembly of this and the disassembly of your hammer. So I'm going to go through the disassembly of your hammer first. Sorry for going in weird order, but anyways, I'm going to put this all aside. Okay. So this is all about talking about all the hammer good stuff now. So let me get the camera focus. Okay, so this is your valve knocker disconnector, and that's your valve knocker spring. Now, to take this apart, there's 2 screws that hold this chassis, that holds all the guts in. Okay, none of the guts will shoot out. At least I hope not. It hasn't shot out the whole entire time I've been taking apart the gun, so... Where's my other screwdriver? Okay. Just be gentle with these screws because this is the hammer after all. Once you screw up the threading, you cannot be replaced. So it's 1 screw. No, the longer, by the way, this screw is long. The long one goes on the top here. The short one is down here. Okay. If I were you, just push it up against the table when you're unscrewing it, just so that you don't have anything fly out. There is quite a lot of tension in the hammer. Okay, so now those 2 screws. Short screw here, long screw is up here. Okay. So now you can lift this off. Okay. Now set this aside. Don't worry, I'll tell you how to assemble it right now. Actually. Okay. So this is the hammer. This is the sear. That's the hammer, and that is the valve knocker. Okay. Note how different this looks compared to the standard P226 hammer. Okay. This is the E2 version. The E2 has updated and looks differently. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you how to take it apart. Now your hammer. Just slides out like that. That's your hammer. It's a very, very big hammer. Now that I look at it, and now that I take apart my 1911 so often, now here's the weird part. Make sure now this is the weird part of the new E2 design. This is the sear. Okay. Now there, you see that spring there? That spring is held in by pure tension. So what you have to do, slip it off, make sure, and just slowly decompress it. Like basically the sear is slotted into a place. Decompress it, slip it out, and that's that little spring here. Okay, it's held in by pure tension. It's just pushing up against the wall of the chassis for the hammer, and that's what's keeping it there. It's a little bit of a weird design in my opinion, but that's just how it works. Okay. Now how you disassemble the rest. Okay, you can actually just slip out the rest. Right, just if I were you, start with a spring to relieve the tension. Okay, grab this top part. You can probably grab it with your own hands. Just slip it off. Make sure you don't lose this, and then that's your valve knocker. Okay, so these are all the parts related to the hammer. Okay, and now I'm going to teach you how to reassemble the hammer. Sorry if I'm not. This is my first disassembly video, so I'm not all too good at making it. Sorry if it's not so awesome, but anyways, sorry about that. My camera just died. So anyways, back to the assembly of the hammer. So now start with this. Okay, basically put that notch in there. Notice that I can go like this now. Forgive me if my camera's not focusing, because my camera only focuses with me adjusting it. Okay, that's how it works. Now this is a little bit tricky. So you see this spring right here? You literally put it in as I'm holding it. This arm piece that goes like that and angles down slides into this area. So I'm going to try to zoom in as close as I can just to show you. Okay, it slides in like that, pushes up against the wall of the thing, and then this arm sticking out hooks onto this nub on the this part of your valve knocker. Just let me get it in place again. Now this is a little bit difficult to do, so forgive me if I take a long time to do this, but so basically you put that arm in there first, but you don't push it all the way in. You have to first get it in a way where you can hook this onto the valve knocker. There we go, I got it. Okay, so what you have to do is sort of hook the valve knocker and hook it onto the frame like this. I don't know if you can see. You see how the arm is angled in? Okay, you sort of have to hook them both at the same time so you can get them on. Okay, and now push the spring in so it doesn't come out. Now, as you can see, it actually holds itself. Okay, so it doesn't come out, holds itself. I wouldn't flip it upside down like I did just now, but in case it pisses you off that this comes off again. But anyways, it pissed me off when the first time I did it. So anyways, that's how you put in the valve knocker. Now I'll show you how to put in this sear. So the sear is a little bit strange shape. Notice how it's shaped. This is the part that goes into that here. And you see this area here? This is for that little spring that came out just now that I told you that I don't like, because it's held in purely by friction when it pushes up like this against here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to install that. So first, put in the sear like that. See how it goes. Now actually, you know what? You should put spring here first, right here, and then put it in. Which is a little bit tricky. Just slip it in. Okay. Now see. Now that spring alone is what creates the tension for your sear. See? So that it just sits in purely by friction. I'm not so sure why it stays there so well, but it just does. Okay. So now put in your hammer. Now again, this is just my way of doing it. I don't know if there's any other videos out there that show you how, but this is just how I do it. Now you have to angle your hammer off like this a little bit. No, my hammer's not completely in place right now. You know, I'm just going to put it in like this. There we go. Oh, sorry. Oh, wait, still not in place. Give me a second. I'm going to figure out why. It should be going in. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's just me. Okay, so that's it. Okay. So I just put the hammer in, just snap it into place with the hammer up position like this. Okay. So now that I put it back in place, you can basically put this piece on top. Okay. So if you ever need to change out the internals, hopefully this shows you how. Okay. I don't know if there are actually any aftermarket parts for this. I never bothered looking too deep. So anyways, let's put it back together now. Put the chassis on top. Make sure the hole in this part, and this part, these two pin areas are lined up with here. If you don't align them properly, you know, you'll pucker the hell out of the thing. So anyways, I'm actually doing this video for the sake of helping a subscriber who asked me to help him make a disassembly video, but it's so painful to do it. Okay, oh my god. So again, the long screws on the top, short screw on the bottom. I should really angle my light in a different location. Let me change the angle of my light. Okay, that's a little better. And again, sorry for the long video. It'll probably take you this long anyways in real life, unless you're way faster than me when you get used to it. I'm not used to it yet. And also again, I learned how to do all this by looking at the instruction sheet. Okay, so okay, and now see how hammer's locked now. You can push the bottom part here, just relieve the tension, and they'll snap back up. Okay, see. So that's how you can tell it's working. Don't use a tool and actually move this, okay? Because you don't want to damage this. You don't want to damage your sear. Okay? So that's how you disassemble the hammer. Now I'm going to tell you how to disassemble this part of the gun. The front chassis. The chassis. I don't know if that's the proper name for it. This is where the decocker and the trigger is. And this weird part of the bottom, which I have no idea what it does, but bear with me. Oh, I forgot one thing. For the hammer, if you want to put the sear spring back in, you simply put this. I mean, not the sear spring, this connector spring. Put it in like that, and then take your disconnector, your valve knocker disconnector, and cup it with the top part. So you see this top part here? Hook it onto the top part. Okay. So we'll trigger to show you hook it and then push it in, and that's how you get that's how you can get the spring in without crushing the spear. The spring. Sorry. Okay, so for now I'm just going to leave it apart because I'm going to show you how to put it back all together in the gun after. So anyways, now on with the front chassis. The front chassis is actually very, very simple. There's only 2 pins holding everything together. And remember, this is the spring that sits over in this gap right here for your decocker. Okay? So just remember, whatever you do, don't lose the spring. This is like the most important bit. So anyways, punch out the pins from this way. As you can see, this big pin over here. But you can punch out that pin first. I just used a screwdriver or something to do it. So just give me a second. Why is it so stiff? It wasn't this stiff when I first did it. There we go. That's how. And then when you take this pin out, your decocker lever will come off. Put this pin aside. Don't lose it. Okay. And now your trigger, your slide release, and this thingy, whatever you call that thingy, will come off. Okay. By the way, this again, sorry about calling it this thingy and your trigger bar all goes on this trigger pin post. Okay, this is your trigger. By the way, these are one of the parts that are supposedly different compared to the standard P226. Okay, this is the E2 trigger. I don't know if there's actually is any difference because I haven't seen that many SIGs out there, to tell the truth. So anyways, just put all of them aside. And there's one more part here that you can disassemble, okay? Which I'm going to highly recommend you to tell you that not to disassemble it because you don't need to. Is this shady part in here? I don't know if you can see it. There's like a thing in there. See that thing that looks like a hitch? You can take that out. Okay, so I'm going to just show you how to take that out. I have no idea what it does, but it seems to interface with the lower frame of the gun. Where's my lower frame? Seems to interface with this area here. Can you see that area? Seems to interface with that thing. I have no idea what it does. Well, so anyways, I'm gonna tell you how to disassemble that. Just basically take something sharp and poke that part out. Comes over. It should come over very easily. Unless if you're me, nothing works. And then 2 parts will fall out. Okay, you see this thing? This thing, again, sorry for not knowing the name. And this spring comes out. Okay, so that's how you disassemble the front chassis. So now I'm going to show you how to put everything back together. Okay, starting with the annoying part. Okay, so now for the reassembly of this thing. Okay, so you see this piece over here. With this sharp part, slide it. There's like a ramp over here. Just take the sharp part, slide it down. There's like an area where it can just slide in. Okay, so just slid right in. Sorry, it's very, very dark, but just slid right in there. And now take your spring, drop it exactly like down. Just drop it right down. There's like a gap. Drop it right down, and this arm pushes up against that thing that I just put in. Now, sorry if I don't know the name of that thing. If I were you, use like a small hex key or something light that doesn't damage the spring and push it in. Now, the reason why I have to push the spring in, but when you push the spring in, push it on the thicker part, because you have to slide this pin into that spring. Okay, so you have to align it. So this part I cannot show you on camera because the gap there in there is just too small. Okay, so let me try show you a little bit at least. Okay, that didn't work. Let me try again. Oh, I got it for once. Okay, so I got that in. Very, very hard to show you, but the spring is just got pinned in. So now I'm going to tell you how to assemble the rest of the parts. Okay, so I would first start with your trigger. So take your trigger like this. You see that trigger spring? Okay, that's how. So literally it's just snap on, right? Just put it on like that. Make sure it stays there. Okay, see that pin on this side? Put this in first, whatever you call this, and then put your trigger bar on. Wait, just give me a second. Oh, sorry. Other side like this. Put it in like this, fat side facing that way. Trigger bar, slap on top. Okay, so it's just enough area and space for the trigger bar. And that's how it put on. Okay. Okay, you have to put the trigger in like this so it has the tension. Okay, I forgot to show you that, so let me do that again. Pain of using a trigger like this. So put it in like that. Angle the trigger a little bit, slide it in, holding the trigger bar in. Oh, crap. Okay, now you understand how this works when you put it in. Okay, just hold the trigger bar onto the trigger pin and just slide it in. Okay, now this is the part where you have to line up stuff. So let me put this on the table. Okay, now this, people you like to use hammers. I don't like to use a hammer to do this, but basically what you do is that you have to put that there, your decocker lever, take the pin, if I were you just quickly put it into the trigger for now, just so that you don't, the rest of the parts don't fall out. Okay, now there's an area on the pin where it allows your lever to swing, okay, like another area for it, so your pin doesn't go all the way in. But it does. Okay, I just pushed it in. Normally it's not that easy, but you just push it in until the pin goes right up to the end of the chassis, okay? So this is sort of tricky to do, okay? So you can see it works, right? My trigger bar is moving when I move the trigger. Okay, so that's how you do that. Now I'm going to do the full reassembly of the gun now that everything's put back together. So I'll start with the front part. Take your trigger, hook it onto the window for your trigger. Simultaneously take up your spring for your decocker. And just put it right there. Just slip it into that spot. Okay, and just hold it with your finger for now. Okay, when you push your lever, notice that it's perfectly compressing the spring. Okay, just make sure you don't take your finger off that. Slide it into place now. By the way, you should pull your by the way, you should pull your trigger so that your bar goes a little bit that way. See how that works? I just pulled the trigger. The reason why is because the trigger bar actually touches the end of the thing. So it makes life a little bit easier if you did that. Now you see how that all that went in. Okay. Now do note that sometimes this sometimes when your front frame isn't going, it's because the trigger bar is getting caught somewhere. Your decocker valve is getting caught somewhere, and you have to line this area up with your lower frame. Okay. So it's not because yours is stubborn, it's just because you have to line stuff up. So I am going to screw in the front part of this. Front trigger, I mean not the front trigger, the screw that holds the chassis in place. Jesus, sorry, camera. It really helps to have a neck screwdriver. So that's screwed into place. Now I'll put your magazine in. Start with this side. Just drop it in, slip it in. Make sure it goes all the way through. Why isn't it going all the way through? It's getting stuck somewhere. Nope, that was just me. Okay. So you see? Oh dear. What am I doing? Okay. Now, your magazine release, there will be an area there where it allows your plastic piece which holds your magazine release to slip in. Okay. Now this is the part where you have to pay quite a bit of attention to. Okay. So this part with this circular thing, with like a that looks like a staff with a circle thing. Okay, that part faces this way. Okay, so it slips onto your gun, slips in here, this way. Okay, so it's just slide this part first into your magazine release, so that it's touching this side of the frame. Hard for me to show you, but. Should be able to see it. See how that goes? Okay, now push it in. Push it in with a little bit of force. If it does not go in easily, then don't force it. Okay, there we go. It just went in. Now you have to push it a little bit further. Crap! Oh, my bad. It's my bad. Push a little bit more in, and the reason why is because this top area here. This area right here slips into an area on the front chassis. So I just need to figure out why isn't it doing that. Oh, it's because I installed it incorrectly. Sorry. Test by pushing your magazine release. If your magazine release isn't perfectly going in, that means you did it wrong. Okay, I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna push it in. Oh, so this time it went in perfectly. You see how that snapped in just now? So see, it's even touching the front chassis. It's actually slipped into a slot there. Okay, so it's in. So now, test magazine release works. Okay. So now, what do I need to go through? I need to go through the hammer assembly. Hammer assembly is a little bit tricky. Now, I recommend you hold the gun like this, so then the trigger bar is through gravity is touching this side of the frame. So what you do, take this hammer, like I mentioned before, take your your valve knocker disconnector spring, slip it into the slot. Okay, take your disconnector and cup it with the edge that I mentioned before, which let me find it. It's right there. Cup it on top. Crap, I missed. Okay, so that's how it slides in, okay? Now, this is a little tricky. Let me flip this around. Keep your hammer on this so you don't use a disconnector spring if you suddenly lose control of something. Take this and slide it into place. Now, there's a couple of things that can stop it, okay? A couple of things that can stop it is the edge of the hammer piece and the edge of the disconnector, okay? People think that this does not seem to fit in here very, very easily. It's just because those areas are getting caught all the time. So you just gotta watch that, okay? And you have to watch your decocker lever not getting caught on the assembly either. And so you see right now this area is pushing up against the frame, so I gotta adjust. Just gotta pull out a little bit. Keeping your finger on the disconnector spring and doing this is sort of a little bit difficult. Yeah, see, there we go. It was just that the decocker lever getting in the way. Now I should be able to push it into place. Oh, now I got my trigger. Oh, there we go. See? That went in quite smoothly. Just make sure it's perfectly aligned with the chassis, which it is. Sorry about that. Anyways, my camera died again because I can't film for that long. Anyways, when you put in your hammer assembly thing, just make sure that your trigger bar can freely move. Make sure it's on the wall of the on the right side. So that's why when you see how freely it moves. Nothing should be interfering with it. If something's interfering with it, that means you put this on wrong, or your trigger bar has fallen up. Oh, by the way, And a way to identify this problem is that if your trigger bar is falling too low, when you put your hammer assembly in, your trigger here will get stuck, and you won't be able to move your and your trigger will get stuck like this, and it won't be able to move outward. Okay. Another way to identify this problem is, let's say you don't notice it when you put your hammer strut in. Your hammer strut in, which is, where did it go? Which is this, won't go in. Okay. So anyways, that's how you do it. Time to put in the pins. Now start with the smooth side of this pin, as I mentioned a while ago in the video. Normally it's not this easy. For some reason it just so happened to go in. Okay, there we go. See, now it's being a little difficult. So let me just take it. There we go. Push it in. Okay. Now take this pin, which with that sharp part, put it into this hole. And make sure you hear it click. Okay, that click is the sound of the pin going in this area. Okay, if you don't see that pin stick pin over here, that means you didn't do it right. It has to be perfectly fit in. Okay, because the reason why is because it can wobble out if you fire a gun. If you push it through this thing, it's more secure that way. Okay, so now hammer strut, and you know your hammer spring and your hammer holder, or whatever you call it. Sorry, again, I don't know the names. Angle this part in. Okay, and just angle it in, because it should be exactly in the right place the second you put it in. Okay, just make sure you put it in like this. Okay, just push it in. Now take the thinner part of your hammer spring. Okay, catches onto the hammer. Okay, I may have to suddenly do this off camera again because it takes a lot of strength to do this, and I am a weakling. You have to push it like this. Okay. So actually, let me see if I can do this. Otherwise, I would have all this time working out for nothing. No way. I got it. Oh, I got it. I think. No, I don't. No. Sorry for taking so long. It's just extremely difficult. Okay, it looks like it's in place. Test it. Alright, there's nothing. Oh, by the way, in order for your trigger to work, this has to be lifted up. Okay, that's the reason why this spring lifts the trigger. Okay, the reason why it needs to be lifted is because it sits in the area in the sear where it will fire now. Okay, so it's working. Okay, so your hammer strut's working. So now you can put in the decocker lever. I'm pretty much done with the video, to tell the truth. But just to make sure everything works, you have to put it in your gun and test it. Okay, cock your hammer. Hit the decocker. Yeah, okay, it works. Okay. So let me put this side of my grip on, just for the sake of holding the decocker. Okay, and these grip screws, take the long ones, there are short ones, and screw them in. I don't even know how long this video is, sorry for the long video. Sorry about that, it's my phone. Okay, so now that's in, okay? Now, why isn't the trigger pull? Oh yeah, the trigger's, oh by the way, you see, the trigger's not pulling everything, is because that spring isn't in yet, okay? So now I'm going to install that spring. Now you see this spring, how it's shaped? So this hook hooks onto the trigger bar, and this part, I don't know what that's for, it just sits right here. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, hook that spring in the trigger bar, in the clearly visible trigger bar, hook it under there, Now put that circle over there, and now, oh crap, where did it go? Oh, it's still there. Sorry. Okay, again, hook it into the trigger bar, put your spring there, put your finger right there, and now hook this arm on this. There's a platform on your frame, okay? And that is it. That is how it's held in purely by tension. Okay, so now put your wooden grip. Oh, by the way, if you're using a SIG P226 E2, the grips are a little bit funny. Okay, they come off. In order for it to come off, I recommend you take a screwdriver, push it here, like push it in these areas to loosen it from the frame, and just slide it off like that. That's the best way to do it, because it's too hard to separate the two pieces. Okay? So anyways, that's how you do it. Even though this is an E2, there should be some similarity to the standard ones. By the way, you don't have to screw in the grips in order to test if your gun works. You can always hold in the spring by hand, but I don't want to lose the spring, which I have done it before, which is why I got used to doing it with the grips. Okay? Now notice that my trigger will now work. That's the double action right there. Now I'm not going to fire the gun because it's late at night, but and in Hong Kong you shouldn't fire your guns at home. Now put in your whatever you call this, sorry, your slide locker. Again, line up the notch on your slide locker to that notch there. Should be able to wiggle it in. Oh, and you have to align the other hole too as you. There we go. Now assemble your gun, and then you're done. So there you go, that is a full assembly and disassembly of the P226 E2. I think this can also apply to your 226, it's just that some of the internal guns are different. So I hope this I hope this video helps people. I'm sorry for the very, very long video. This is my first disassembly video that I've ever done, but I hope people will understand a little bit better on how the internal guts works. And again, if you're really truly confused, if you still have this sheet from your SIG, I highly recommend you take a look at it, just because you can actually sort of guess how everything goes. You can sort of guess if you're not worried about experimenting with this. To be honest, I learned how to disassemble my 1911 and my Glock all by looking at all this stuff. It just took me a little while to see what goes on what goes on where. And again, to my understanding, there's no instructions online to tell you how to do this. So this is the first video. I'm not sure if this is the first video that ever explains all this stuff to you, but hopefully it is. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. Peace.